A large city was living in fear as an S-ranked giant wolf threatened their safety. In desperation, the city called upon the Dragon Fang team to eliminate the beast. As the team waited for its arrival, the wolf suddenly attacked from behind, knocking K away. Reacting quickly, Nav, the team leader, ordered Bandana to bind the wolf with a rope. She managed to tie it up, but the wolf's immense strength allowed it to break free, almost instantly. As it pulled on the rope, Bandana was violently slammed into a wall, leaving her injured. Marvelous quickly cast a healing spell on her, allowing her to continue fighting. Determined, Bandana attacked again, this time successfully restraining the wolf. Seeing the opportunity, Nav ignited his sword and delivered a devastating strike, finally slaying the beast. The city erupted in celebration, relieved that their nightmare had ended. After their mission, the Dragon Fang team returned home for a meal. As they ate, Goov threw his food to the ground in frustration. "No one in this village makes decent food," he complained before turning to Kor and demanding, "Make me something fresh." Kor agreed, but Bandana made an ominous remark. "This will be the last time we taste Kor's cooking." Confused, Kor asked what she meant. Nav coldly revealed the truth. Kor was being expelled from the team. Shocked, Kor insisted that he hadn't done anything wrong, but Nav scoffed. "That's exactly the problem. You haven't done anything at all. You can't even defeat a weak monster." Marvelous explained that their team needed to recruit a magician with special abilities, and since every team was limited to 4 members, someone had to go. Bandana added bluntly, "You're a burden." Desperate, Kor begged to stay, but Nav kicked him down and cast him out without mercy. With nowhere to go, Kor left the city and traveled to H-Work in search of employment. Upon entering, he was greeted by an employee who asked if he was looking for work or hiring someone. Kor replied, "I'm looking for a job." The employee asked for his name and age. "I'm Kor, 15 years old," he answered. Curious about his background, the employee asked if he had prior work experience. Kor admitted, "I was part of the Dragon Fang team, but I only did small tasks, and then they expelled me." Surprised, the employee asked, "You were in Dragon Fang, the recently promoted team?" Kor nodded sadly. The employee reassured him, "This actually makes your file look good. Having worked with them will impress people." Next, Kor was tested for hidden talents. The ranking system ranged from A, able to split a stone in half, to G, completely unskilled. Unfortunately, Kor scored a G in everything, proving he was unqualified for adventuring work. This devastated him. Noticing his disappointment, the employee tried to encourage him. "There are other jobs, trading, chemistry, blacksmithing, but these tests take a week." Kor hesitated. "I don't have any money to wait that long." Understanding his situation, the employee asked him to lift a nearby bag of sand. Though drained of mana, Kor managed to lift it with difficulty. The employee smiled. "Not bad. You might be fit for construction work." Relieved to have found an opportunity, Kor agreed. The employee arranged for his first job. At the construction site, Kor met his employer, who assigned him a simple task: making concrete and fixing the fence. He warned Kor that he would return in 3 hours and expected quality work. But when the employer returned, he was stunned. Kor had already repaired most of the walls in a ridiculously short time. "How did you do this?" the employer asked in disbelief. Kor, apologetic, explained, "I ran out of concrete before finishing the rest." The employer, still in shock, questioned how Kor had even reached the upper parts of the wall. "I gathered the concrete and directed it with this stick," Kor answered casually. The employer's expression shifted from amazement to frustration. "Wait, what? That shouldn't be possible." Realizing Kor's abilities were far beyond what was normal, the employer fired him on the spot. "You're working too fast," he explained. "If you keep this up, you'll take away work from the other laborers. Your rank could be SS. You should be working in the kingdom, not here." Despite having only worked for 3 days, Kor was paid generously before being let go. The employer scolded Kor, telling him that he worked too fast, leaving no jobs for the other laborers. "You'll finish all the work alone, leaving nothing for the poor workers who rely on this job," he said. "Your skills are beyond this place. With your speed, you should be working in the kingdom, not here." He handed Kor the rest of his salary, effectively dismissing him. Kor, in shock, thought to himself that his boss had paid him off just to get rid of him. Kor returned to H-Work, where the employee told him, "This job didn't work out for you, but what are we going to do now? You still have 3 days left before the other job tests." Just then, a woman burst into the office, shouting that she was looking for a worker. The employee approached her, asking what she needed. She explained that she required a worker for a mining job, but warned that if nothing valuable was found in the mine, they wouldn't be paid. The employee protested, saying that workers should be compensated for their labor regardless of the outcome. Kor stepped forward, expressing his interest in the job. "I've worked in mines before back in my village," he said. The employee reminded him that payment was uncertain, but Kor was willing to take the risk. The woman examined him and hesitated. "I need a muscular, slightly short worker, not a young guy like you," she remarked. The employee responded, "You'll have to pay 10 silver coins if you want to hire him." The woman agreed, settling for Kor and asking him to follow her. As Kor left, the employee handed Kersha a workload related to him. Kira, upon looking at it, was so shocked by the amount of money that she collapsed to the ground. Another employee rushed over to check on her. When Kyril noticed a stack of heavy bags, she asked, "Who put those sandbags here?" The employee explained, "These aren't regular sandbags. They're used to measure mana levels. They become heavier as a person's mana increases, and they're impossible for ordinary people to lift. Only someone with strength, like a royal court magician, can handle them." To everyone's surprise, Kira effortlessly lifted one. As she did, she thought about Kor and murmured, "Who exactly are you, Kor, to have such strength?" Meanwhile, Kor followed the woman, whose name was Yisha, to the mining site. When they arrived, Kor looked around in confusion. "There's nothing here but a tent," he said. Yisha nodded. "It's big enough for 2 people. Kor smirked. "I can't sleep next to a beautiful woman like you." Yisha's face turned red with anger. "Don't say such weird things," she snapped. She handed him food, and as he ate, he smiled. "No one has cooked for me in a long time." That night, Kor couldn't sleep inside the tent and chose to rest outside. The next morning, Yisha woke up to find her coat neatly repaired. She turned to Kor in surprise. "Did you do this?" "Yes," he replied simply. "When you're ready, let me know." "We need to start working," Yisha said. "We need 10 gold coins by the end of the week." Kor nodded. "Okay, but where are we supposed to dig?" Yisha hesitated. "I don't know exactly. We'll just dig nearby." Kor shook his head. "That's not how mining works. If we dig randomly, we won't find anything." He asked Yisha to follow him, trusting his own experience. After searching for a better spot, Kor began digging and soon unearthed a round stone. He examined it closely before splitting it open, revealing blue gemstones inside. "This is what we're looking for," he said. "These stones can sell for 3 gold coins each." Yisha's eyes widened. "That's already a third of what we need." Kor continued mining, collecting a large number of blue stones. When he was done, Yisha asked, "So, should we sell them now?" "No, we can't do that yet," Kor replied. She frowned. "Why not? You found them by yourself." "It's not about that," Kor explained. "We need to turn them into crystals first." Yisha was stunned. "There are only 10 blacksmiths in the kingdom who can refine these into crystals." Without hesitation, Kor transformed the stones into crystals with incredible speed, leaving Yisha in shock. "I thought each one took an hour to make." Kor shook his head. "I don't have that much mana. I can't do it indefinitely." Afterward, Yisha packed her belongings and asked, "Are you sure you're staying here?" "I have a lot to do," Kor responded. "Then I'll come back tomorrow morning after I sell the crystals," Yisha said before leaving. At the guild, Yisha attempted to sell the crystals. A guard asked for documentation proving they were from abroad. When she admitted they were local, he assumed they were made in a workshop. However, when Yisha revealed a necklace, the guard stiffened in fear. You work with the king?" She ignored his reaction and used a teleportation stone to transport herself to the kingdom, where she sought out a buyer. Initially, the merchant told her the crystal was only worth 10 silver coins. But after a closer inspection, the merchant suddenly changed her tune. "Wait, I'll buy it for 10 gold coins." Yisha was baffled. "How is that possible?" The merchant explained, "This crystal contains an immense amount of mana and prevents mana leakage. It's extremely valuable." Yisha then revealed she had 49 more. The merchant's eyes widened. "That's 500 gold coins." However, before finalizing the purchase, the merchant made 2 requests. First, do not sell these crystals to anyone else. Our kingdom strictly controls their trade, and no one will appreciate their true power like we do. Second, tell me, who made these? Yisha hesitated. "I can't tell you." The merchant frowned. "Why not? Whoever crafted these crystals should be serving the kingdom. Are you trying to monopolize them for profit?" "It's not about that," Yisha insisted. "I just can't reveal his identity without his permission." The merchant sighed. "This concerns me because I am a royal court sorceress. A crystal maker like this must be secured for the kingdom's benefit." Yisha crossed her arms. "I don't work for the kingdom anymore. I'm not obligated to follow your orders." The merchant smirked. Yet you have no issue benefiting from your former rank, I see. Let's talk as friends then. Keep the crystal maker away from any city other than ours. Also, inform him that we might offer him a position as the Royal Magic Laboratory Manager. If the kingdom approves, he could even become an honorary count. After receiving payment, Yisha left the guild. She now had 500 gold coins and an offer to make Kor the head of the laboratory. She returned to hall work, where she met Kersha. Both of them had questions for each other. Yisha asked first, "Who is Kor?" Kersha refused to answer. "I can't reveal client secrets." Yisha pulled out the royal necklace and accessed Kor's file. "He was a member of the dragon team," she muttered. Kira added, "He worked in construction, but only for 3 days. However, his pay was unusually high." This intrigued Yisha. Then Kersha dropped another bombshell. "He repaired all the walls by himself and in a ridiculously short time." Yisha nodded. No wonder they fired him. Finally, she instructed Kira to deposit Kor's payment into his account and warned, "Do not share any information about him with anyone." Returning to Kor, Yisha was stunned to find a newly built house. "What is this?" she asked in disbelief. Kor replied casually, "I built it while you were away." Yisha was speechless. "You built a complete house in one night?" Kor simply shrugged. "People used to do this all the time. I don't think it's a big deal." The Dragon Fang team had ventured into the forest on an adventure, but things quickly turned dire when they encountered a massive monster. During the fight, Golov was struck in the head and injured. He cried out to Marvelous, asking her to heal him quickly. She struggled, replying, "I'm trying, but my power isn't what it used to be." As the monster attacked again, Golov barely managed to block its strike. Amid the chaos, the new adventurer in the group asked Golov, "Can you use fire? You told me you could." Bandana, watching the situation unfold, muttered to herself, "I think this party is already done for." Meanwhile, in another part of the world, we moved to Crow's home where he was with Ulia. Crow was stunned to learn that they wanted to appoint him as the manager of the Royal Research Lab and offer him a noble title. Ulia confirmed it was true. Crow asked her how it had come to this, and she explained that the person she had asked to appraise the crystals turned out to be a royal court magician, doing the role more or less as a hobby. Crow was skeptical and asked, "Are you sure about this? Could your friend be tricking you?" Ulia admitted it sounded hard to believe, but asked, "What do you think?" Crow sighed and told her to decline the offer, despite knowing how good it sounded. Deep down, he thought to himself that he couldn't accept a position that would place him above others. Part of him also longed to return to the Dragon Fang team, though he told Ulia that his only focus now was on his current work. Ulia was shocked by his decision. Crow then asked her if selling the crystals had helped pay off her debts. She confirmed that it had, saying she'd sold them at a fair price. She had taken a single gold coin as a broker fee and deposited the rest in his account. Crow told her not to worry about him, but Ulia insisted, knowing she couldn't have kept the money without guilt overwhelming her. She then encouraged him to keep mining, to which Crow replied he had already found a good mineral vein the day before. Ulia was impressed and noted that he hadn't even taken a break. Crow admitted he had rested for only 6 hours, prompting her to recall that he'd also built the house and chopped firewood. Crow, thinking back on his time with the Dragon Fang team, remembered he used to get just 4 hours of sleep. As the one in charge of daily tasks, he was always the last to sleep and the first to rise. He even apologized to Ulia for sleeping too much now. They walked together to the new mining site. Ulia asked if he was sure about the location, as she hadn't noticed anything unusual. Crow pointed to the shape of the mountain terrain and explained that there were deposits underneath, warning not to dig deeper than 50 meters. He then told her he would be digging elsewhere, the site where they'd found crystals the previous day. Ulia let him go. She ended up finding a gemstone called topaz and noted it could fetch 3 gold coins. She thought about asking Crow to convert it into a magic crystal for free, realizing that would fulfill her financial goal. But then she scolded herself, saying she shouldn't take advantage of him again. Wondering what Crow might be doing, she guessed from experience that he was probably building a tunnel. When she arrived, she was stunned by the tunnel's sheer size. "I didn't think it would be this big," she said in awe. Crow emerged and said he was just on his way to find her. Ulia asked if he'd found anything of value, and he replied that he'd only discovered some worthless ore fragments, which he stored in a box. She examined the stones and found them strangely beautiful. Crow told her the ore was called mithyl and said he could extract a lot of it. Ulia was astonished and asked if he knew what it was. In his village, Crow explained they considered it useless and just threw it away. Ulia was stunned. Mithyl was worth more than gold or platinum, and yet he was discarding it. Crow asked, "So it's important. Is it hard to get in your city?" Ulya then asked what ore he was really searching for, and Crow answered, "Oral." She was surprised, saying she didn't believe that ore could even be found in these mountains. Crow insisted it could be found anywhere if you dig deep enough, about 7 kilometers down. Shocked, Ulya asked if he had really dug that far already. He confirmed it, and she said, "Just as I suspected." Then she asked about the shaft. Crow casually explained he had already filled it back in because it was too dangerous to leave open. "You filled in a 7-kilometer shaft in just 8 hours. Ulya said, stunned again, "Nothing can surprise me anymore." She looked to the end of the tunnel and noted that Crow had dug directly toward the mountain. She realized the tunnel could be extremely useful. When Crow asked if he should fill it in, Ulya told him not to. It would be better left open. Later, they traveled to Samila City. Crow mentioned that the tunnel he dug would connect Samila City to Prince Taiyan City. Ulya, seeing an opportunity, allowed merchants to use the tunnel for a small maintenance fee, calculating that it would be enough to cover her taxes. Just then, Bandana arrived and greeted Crow. He was surprised to see her and asked if Golov was with her. She shook her head and said she was no longer part of the Dragon Fang team, that too much had happened. She mentioned that Golov had destroyed a restaurant where they were eating. Curious, she had gone to ask him how the food was in such a modest place. Golov, clearly annoyed, barked that they still had smoked meat that Crow had prepared, so she should go fetch it instead. Bandana explained to Golov that there was no smoked meat left because he had eaten it all. In response, Golov raised his sword and ordered her to fetch Crow to make more. If Crow refused, Golov demanded that Bandana force him to cooperate. Bandana agreed and took his teleportation crystal, promising to handle it herself. On her way, she noticed some guards and figured Golov might get arrested for his recent actions. She also mentioned that Marvelous was probably fortunate to have been summoned by the church, and in her view, the Dragon Fang team was as good as finished. Since she had been kicked out, she didn't want Crow, her current target of observation, getting dragged into any of their mess. When Bandana told Crow she had been expelled from the team, he was shocked. He also said he had no plans to return to Dragon Fang. When she asked why he was so hung up on that team, Crow explained that he respected Golov and felt indebted to him. She then asked if he was currently seeking work, and Crow confirmed he was headed toward a new job. Bandana told him about a struggling artisan workshop that needed help. She said only about 15 artisans held official state licenses, and they needed assistance. Crow doubted his usefulness, but Bandana reassured him that she trusted him, and he should too. He agreed to help and took a map from her before rushing off. Bandana quietly noted how hard it was to become a sage in training. Crow soon arrived at the workshop, which specialized in magical swords. It was led by a licensed master craftsman who was authorized to both develop and distribute them. When he knocked on the door, a girl answered, an elf named Michelle. She introduced herself as the master's assistant and was happy to see help had finally arrived. She brought Crow inside and asked him to clean the kitchen, which she wasn't good at. Then she went to assist the master. Crow changed clothes and thoroughly cleaned the kitchen. Unsure of what to do next, he followed the path Michelle had taken and ended up in a room where he found a girl afflicted by a terrible curse. After examining her, Crow concluded that the curse had engulfed her entire body and said he would prepare food to help her regain strength. Back in the kitchen, Crow made porridge, but the lingering thoughts of the curse made him collapse from mental strain. Meanwhile, Alicia was negotiating the sale of the rare ore Myethil with Mimiko. Mimiko estimated its value at 50,000 gold coins. Alicia wondered what would happen if news about the ore and Crow spread. Mimiko warned that Crow would either be kidnapped or assassinated, shocked at how someone so powerful had managed to stay hidden. Alicia revealed that Crow had been kicked out of Dragon Fang. Mimiko speculated that their leader was likely a wanted man. When asked what Alicia planned for Crow, she said she wanted to help him become a licensed master craftsman and give him a stable purpose. Her plan was to eventually have him hire her as his bodyguard, though she admitted convincing him would be hard since he constantly undervalued himself. Back at the workshop, Crow had just finished cooking. Michelle and Oilia, the actual master craftsman, walked in. Crow apologized for using the kitchen, but Oilia said it was fine and asked what he had made. He explained it was porridge for the cursed girl. Oilia was surprised he had met her and warned him not to talk about her to anyone. He promised to keep the secret. Oilia thanked him for the day's work. paid him and asked him to return the next day. Kuro agreed. After he left, Oilia couldn't believe she had allowed the cursed girl to interact with a stranger. Though she only did it to slow the curse's progress, she knew she had to stay cautious. In the girl's room, Oilia reminded her to keep the curtains closed and offered to fix her clothes. She wanted to test the porridge for safety, but the girl said she trusted the man who made it. The girl revealed that she had spent her life suspicious of everyone, but today she wanted to believe someone. Oilia let her try the food. Suddenly, the girl collapsed in pain. Oilia panicked and reached for an antidote, but the girl stopped her, saying she felt fine. Miraculously, the curse had vanished. Oilia was stunned. Strong curses like this normally took a long time to dissipate. Elsewhere, two people who had cast the curse on the girl, revealed to be Princess Liza, were planning to place another curse on her. One soldier apologized to his superior and promised to carry it out. Back at the workshop, Oilia and Liza went to see Mimiko and Alicia. Oilia introduced herself and explained the gravity of the situation. Liza was the daughter of the king and Princess Frano of the North, making her a symbol of peace between the two lands. Someone had cursed her to reignite conflict between their nations. Alicia realized the curse was politically motivated, and Mimiko embraced the princess, grateful she was safe. Liza confirmed that she had come to find out who had cursed her. Mimiko pledged her full service and asked how the curse had been broken. When Liza said it was thanks to a man named Crow, both Mimiko and Alicia were stunned. Alicia felt shocked when she learned that Kuro was the one who healed the princess. She asked, "What did you do when you left in the middle of the day, Kuro?" Mimiko said that the person who cast this curse on the princess was someone connected to a curse user and capable of manipulating things inside the royal palace. There are only 3 people who can do that. First, Tristan Minif, who is the bishop of the Bolan Church. Second, Senova Restikins, who is the first general of the Queen's reconnaissance forces. And third, Isadora Arkamama, the third wife of His Majesty the King. Oilia said that Tristan could use his followers to manipulate the guardians of Liz's room. Lisa the princess said her father's wife could move freely in the palace, so she could also manipulate things. However, this was not impossible for Sova either. Yolicia said, "No, he has connections with the Thieves Guild, and they are experts in gathering information. They must have some men inside the palace as well." Oilia said it would be hard to identify the guilty one at this time, and she told them they would need to set a trap. She informed them that Lisa had celebrated her 15th birthday and had become an adult just days ago, and tradition required her to leave the palace for a year of training. "That's why we will set up a workshop for artists that won't actually exist, and it will be run by a fake artist teacher, allowing Lisa to train there. Then the criminal will start gathering information about this workshop and the fake artist teacher." Mimiko said that if this teacher existed, they would have gathered information quickly. However, if he didn't exist, there would be nothing to gather. The more they tried, the more they learned about the culprit. Oilia said they needed to achieve certain accomplishments to be recognized as artist teachers. Yelisha said, "I have just the thing for this," and revealed her special crystal. She asked Oilia if it was a magical crystal and asked Yulicia where she got it from. Yulicia answered that Kuro had made it, which surprised both the princess and Oilia. We shift to Kuro, who was in front of Oilia's closed house. Then Michelle came to him, and Kuro asked her why the house was closed. She replied, "After you left yesterday, my teacher went out with the princess, and there's nothing to do today with us." "I'm sorry," Kuro said. "All right, I understand," and left, thinking to himself that he hoped he hadn't done anything wrong. He also said he should go eat. After that, he went to a restaurant, and while enjoying his meal, he overheard a group of adventurers talking about their carrier being injured, and that they had a new mission they shouldn't refuse, and they needed a carrier right away. Kuro approached them and told them he could be their carrier, though he didn't know how to fight at all like the adventurers did. The girl scolded him, but the team leaders smacked her and apologized to Kuro, telling him she was right because they needed a strong carrier since they were hunting iron goblins weighing about 200 kilos, and the carrier needed to be specialized in this. Kuro then said that if this work was suitable for him, he could lift them, and they definitely weighed around 200 kilos. He lifted the first one easily, and then the second one without any trouble. He shook hands with Cans, who said to Kuro, "In truth, we have our own carrier named Babino, but he's sick and will take a week to recover." Kuro introduced himself and thanked them for hiring a regular guy like him, making them laugh a lot. Cans approached Kuro and said, "We depend on you, Kuro." Kuro thought to himself that they were nice, and he needed to work hard so as not to trouble them. They moved to a tunnel where there was a monster, but Kuro got stuck with slime. Sina told him to stab it until he killed it. Kuro attempted to stab the slime but failed and ended up injuring himself. However, Sina came over and got rid of the slime. Kuro thanked Sina, and she told him she knew he was weak in combat, but that was really awful. Danzao told Kuro not to worry about fighting. They would protect him. Kans told Kuro he only needed to carry stuff, and he'd be fine until this job was done, which amazed Kuro with their kind treatment of him. He remembered how his previous team had been, and they were nothing alike. He started to cry, but Sina asked him if he was hurt and couldn't walk. He told her, "No, I'm fine." After that, they entered the tunnel, and Sina told Kuro that she would light the place up using glowing algae. After brightening the area, Kuro looked beside him and asked Sina what that was. She said it was goblin waste. Kuro asked if there were goblins here, and Kans answered, "Of course, but don't worry, we can defeat them easily. But if a large group attacks us, we'll run away immediately." Then they continued walking through the tunnel, and Kuro approached the walls to check for an exit. They encountered a goblin, but Sina threw a knife at it, and Danzao delivered a fatal blow, eliminating it. Kans asked if it had been calling for its friends, and Danzao replied that he heard their voices. They were everywhere, even near the tunnel exit. Sina asked what they should do, and Kuro urged them to find a way out, saying that this was a secret exit. He opened a door in the wall, and when they entered, Sina closed it behind them. Kuro asked her why she did that and reminded her that Danzao and Kans were still outside. She told him she knew, but they needed to escape. Kuro countered that they had to fight with them. Sina snapped back, "You're stupid. You can't even kill a little slime, and you'd hinder them if you went." This surprised Kuro as he realized that Sina wanted to fight much more than he did. Kans told them not to argue, and asked Kuro to protect Sina as well. Ken then asked Danzao if he felt regret. Danzao replied, "Not at all," and turned the question back to Kan. Kan replied, "Never dying to protect my little sister is the greatest honor for me." Danzao said, "Dying would be an honor for you too, and wouldn't bring you shame." Kans responded, "How could I regret it when I'm still your friend?" Kuro thought that they were really kind and loved each other, wanting to protect him, but he couldn't help them. Sina said she knew that her brother and Danza would survive and urged Kuro to move. She lit up the area, but a massive creature, an iron dragon, appeared, filling Sina with deep despair. Now we shift to Yalisha and Lisa. Lisa said, "So this is the loom that Kuro mentioned." Yalisha said, "You should always remember that we're hiding from Kuro that you're a princess." The princess replied that the most important thing was that she was just an ordinary girl in front of Kuro named Lisa, asking Yalisha to also call her Lisa and to drop the formalities. Yalisha agreed that they should do that and told her she could also call her Yuli. They then went to Kuro's room to look for him, and one of Kuro's friends told them that he went to an iron goblin tunnel with his new band Sakura. Lisa asked Yalisha what this is. Yalisha replied that it could be a trap, but if Kuro had really gone to that area, it was a great danger for him since they had completed their training there due to the spread of the iron goblins. She asked Lisa to stay here while she went to search for him. Lisa insisted, "I will stay with you." Yalisha urged her not to be foolish, but Lisa replied, "What about you? How could you think of leaving someone unprotected?" She added that as a member of the royal family, she had learned some magic she could use to defend herself and wouldn't hinder Yalisha's path. Yisha told her, "All right, but promise me you won't stray from my side." And they went on their way. We moved to the tunnel. Yalisha said these glowing algae are new, and Lisa said she sees Kuro's tracks and thinks he walked this way. Ulisha asked Lisa how she could recognize him from his footprints. Then Lisa used her magic to discover more footprints, and Ulisha said, "That's good, it will help you hear his voice and find him right away." Lisa began to move closer to the walls and said that Kuro moved from this direction. When she got to the nearest spot, she told Alicia there are warriors fighting inside. Ulisha approached Lisa and told her to stay here so she wouldn't get hurt. Lisa boosted Ulisha's physical strength, and Alicia moved forward to help Danzao and Kans. She struck the goblins, taking many of them out. We shift to Kuro. Sienna said, "This is impossible. I have to abandon this mission so no one gets killed." She told Kuro she was sorry for pulling him into this job and informed him they couldn't get through because these dragons were here to stop them. She mentioned that her brother and Danzao tried to buy them some time to escape, but they couldn't escape at all, and she started crying. Kuro approached Sienna and told her not to worry, assuring her they would escape. He drew his weapon and said he would take care of the dragons first. He moved in on the dragons, and the first dragon attacked him, but Kuro dodged the strike. He counterattacked, landing some hits that took them all out, which left Sienna very surprised. After finishing off the dragons, Kuro told her he was used to mining iron goblins. Then Alicia came in and asked what happened here. Sienna said he took them out by himself with a single strike from his weapon and noted that he's used to mining. Alicia asked Kuro if he was okay. He replied that he was fine, but asked her to save Danzao and Cans because they were in a tough battle. Alicia reassured him they were okay and alive. He said, "That's very good." Alicia thought to herself, she had heard legends of a man with a G rank and combat skills, but possessing an S rank talent in harvesting with a scythe to defeat a briar dragon. But is that also possible? Lisa appeared and said to Kuro, "You're really impressive." Khan said, "Get us our other party member. It's important, but we haven't heard of a horde of goblins that fled from training." He told Alicia he didn't know how to respond to Beauty. Danzao said, "We owe you so much." Alicia replied, "You don't have to." She told Kuro they would establish a workshop for artists soon, and that she would work there as an adventurer and main character, asking him if he would come to work with her. She told him she heard he did a great job at Oilia's place. Kuro said he was working with Sora now. Cans told Kuro this offer shouldn't be turned down, and he should take it seriously without worrying about them. Alicia said they were starting this workshop, which was very new, and had no workers, and asked him to hire some adventurers. "What do you think about joining us?" Hans asked if that was possible, and Sora's team agreed. Alicia told Kuro that when they returned to the country, he would have to undergo a talent test to find out what his talent was when he started working in the workshop. Kuro told himself he wanted that too. When the technical artist arrives anyway, he said, "Okay." We moved to Mimko's house, and Mimo welcomed Kuro, introducing herself as the one responsible for evaluating his talent. She knew he arrived with a recommendation from Oilia and told him she had seen his magical crystal, but she wanted to see him in person. After that, we shift to the tavern where they are celebrating together. We switch back to Alicia and Mimo, and Alicia asked Mimo, "What about Kuro's talent?" Mimo replied she told him he had to be rank in cleaning and a C rank in everything else. Alicia asked Mimo what the actual results were. Mimo told her that Halo work is the only one able to measure talents between G rank and S rank, and she informed her his strength was very large, and I couldn't measure it. Mimko said they were lucky since she was the one assessing the talents. If word got out, who knows what would happen. Then the maid cell came to them looking shocked. Mimko approached her and said she was happy because Kuro's talents were SS rank. Alicia said to Crucial that if anyone learned about this, it would be very dangerous. Crisel replied, "I haven't heard anything at all." They went to the new workshop location where they would be working using the express carriage. Liza asked, "Are there any teleportation stones in the city we're going to?" Alicia replied, "There used to be some, but it was a military base on the border of the Demon Lands." Liza said, "Even though the new viceroy hasn't been appointed yet, it's a crucial city that doesn't receive any help from the Alliance." Danzao said, "And we will be the personal party for a new artisan in this crucial city." Can said, "This is more than we deserve." Alicia said the decision was made with full consideration of your abilities. Ken asked Danzao, "What about Baboni?" Danzao told him, "Leave it to me." After that, Senna said to herself, "My brother and Danzao agree instantly." She also thought they assigned us to silence us, but I will protect my brother and Danzao if anything happens to them. Then Cans asked Alicia what this artisan master craftsman is like. Alicia said he is a very honorable man. Then, moving to the city, Crow was surprised by its appearance. Liza asked Crow what's wrong. Crow told her, "I used to work on repairing the walls of this city before, but I was fired after 3 days of work." Then, moving to the workshop locations, Alicia told them, "This is the land that will be your training ground." Can said, "But it's empty land." He asked her, "What are we supposed to do here?" Alicia said, "We'll wait at the inn until the artisan's workshop is finished." Alicia asked Crow, "Can you build this workshop alone?" This surprised the others. Crow said, "I can build a wooden house by myself, but building a workshop for an artisan in 1 day is unreasonable." Can said, "That's right." Senna thought, Crow doing everything by himself is difficult. Danzao said, "Completing this in 1 day is impossible." Crow told them, "I think I can do it in just 3 days." This surprised them. Elisha said to Crow, "Okay, take as much time as you need and build it your way. Even if it takes 3 days, and if you need any materials, don't hesitate to ask." Crow said to her, "You mean these?" He wrote down all the things he needed on a piece of paper and gave it to Ulisha, asking her to bring these materials and telling her that, if she prepared these things, he would be very grateful to her. Ulisha read the materials and told him that she would bring them to him in just 2 days. Senna said to herself, "Does he really need these things?" Then Ulia asked everyone to go to the inn so they wouldn't hinder Crow from building the workshop. She said to Crow, "Make sure to come to the inn for meals and to take a break." Crow said to her, "Okay," and told her that he would come in the morning and at night. Liza said to Crow, "You have to eat well." Crow said to her, "Thank you for your concern." Then moving inside the inn, Alisha gathered them. Sina said, "Are you going to tell them what happened in the cave, right?" Kans asked, "What happened in the poem reading?" Sina said, "Crow defeated the iron dragon alone. He was cutting it like he was used to it, and with just one knife too, and with ease." Sina asked Alicia, "Who is Crow, and who are you too?" Alicia said, "Okay, I'll start with myself." She told them that she was an adventurer working under the royal family. She asked Liza to introduce herself. Liza introduced herself and showed them her royal crest, which proved that she was a princess, which surprised the others. They were about to bow to her, but Liza asked them to sit down and told them that she was hiding her identity for certain reasons. She asked them to treat her as they did before seeing her crest. Sina asked, "Is Crow from the royal family too?" Alicia said, "No, he's not even from the nobility, and we don't know the origin of this boy yet." Sina said, "How don't you know who he is yet?" Alicia said, "We only know that all of Crow's combat abilities are of G rank, and other abilities are of SSS rank." Kan said, "Is SSS rank the rank that people doubt exists?" Alicia told them that Crow was very unaware of his strength and that they had hidden his true rank from him, telling him that he was of B or C rank. And to be honest with you, the new artisan master is actually Crow himself, but this is a secret between us two. Sana said angrily, "Why are you hiding all this from him?" She told them that they should tell Crow everything. Alicia said, "If we told Crow the truth, he wouldn't believe us, and who knows what kind of evil people would plan to misuse Crow's power and exploit it if we announced the truth." Senna said, "You're the ones exploiting him now." Ken asked Senna to calm down. Sina said to her brother, "I don't want to hear any more of this because this is too much." But Kans hugged his sister Sina to calm her down. Danzao asked Ulisha to continue. Liza said, "Crow broke the curse that was cast on the handmade porridge." Ulisha said, "Someone wants to kill Liza, and the reason for building this workshop in this city is to uncover our enemy and identify who it is." Sina asked, "Does Crow know this?" Liza said, "He doesn't know anything. He didn't even know who I was, and when he knew that I was suffering from a curse, he saved me without asking for anything in return." Ulisha said, "Crow is very pure, and the others influence himself a lot. This is what makes him a good boy, so I want to protect this boy." Liza also said that she was asking them not as a princess, but as Liza, their friend, to keep this secret and protect Crow with them. Danzao said, "It is the duty of a knight to obey members of the royal family. But we are adventurers, we don't have any of these obligations, but we are also comrades, and we risk death with Crow, and we are his friends." Kan said, "That's right, we are already friends, and we must protect Crow." Danzao said, "Since I am Crow's friend, I swear on my weapon to protect you both too." Liza thanked them. Sina said to Danzao and her brother, "How can you do this? We've only met him 3 days ago, and we don't know anything about him." Ulisha said, "I understand what you're feeling." Sina said to her, "How can you understand?" She told her not to say anything that meant nothing to her. Ulisha told her, "I understand that because I went through it because I met him only 6 days ago," which surprised the others. Sina said, "So let me think about it," and left. Ken said to Ulia, "Don't worry about Sina, she'll be fine." Then Sina went alone and said to herself, "How is this happening? And Crow must know everything." Then she moved to Crow and was very surprised. Crow came to her and told her that he hadn't finished building the workshop yet. Sina asked Crow, "Did you dig this?" Crow said to her, "Of course, I'm from rank B in mining." Sina said to herself, "Even those with rank B can't do that." Sina told Crow that he was amazing. Crow told her it was common to build a few dozen houses a day in my hometown, so I feel like I'm still slow. Sina asked Crow, "Are you feeling stressed because you're assigned too much work?" He told her, "No one forces me to do anything, and I'm happy to do it." He told her that his old party told him that he was useless and kicked him out. "Now I feel happy because I'm someone who is useful, and I was able to prove this." Sina remembered Ulia's words about Crow and said, "I understand now." Crow asked Sina, "What did you understand?" Senna said, "We are friends now." Moving on to Danzao, he meets with the informant, and she is telling him some information. She told him that she had gathered a lot of information about Baboni, who is known as the Thousand Faces, and that he accepts missions from evil people. Then he sneaks into adventurer parties, and she rebuked him that he is treacherous, and he has destroyed countless parties, and that he accepted the last mission with the intention of destroying Sakura, and he thought he was sent from another party that harbors a grudge against you for taking the job recently. She told him that the rest of the details are in the paper with him. Danzao said, "I understood everything, and I'm indebted to you," and gave her the money. Moving on to the tavern where Baboni is, Baboni wanted to force a girl to stay with him, but the girl left. He said to himself, "I didn't expect Sakura's party of scoundrels to survive, but now I hear that they have been employed in a new workshop related to the third princess, and if I crush them, I will earn a lot of money." Danzao told him, "That's really a good idea to make money." Baboni said, "Of course, and I can find many clients who want to tarnish the achievements of the third princess." But Baboni stopped talking and was surprised when he heard Danzao's voice talking to him. He turned around, astonished. Danzao asked Baboni, "You're drinking a lot to celebrate your recovery, aren't you?" After that, Baboni ran away from the tavern, but as he was running, he was tripped and fell to the ground by a trap set for him by Danzao. Then Danzao approached Baboni and said to him, "You were smart, so you can't be unaware of the huge goblin colony." Baboni said to Danzao, "Forgive me," and told him that they were friends in the same party and that he didn't know anything. But Danzao drew his sword and put it on Bibinoki's neck and said to him, "You were never my friend, and if you approach those I trust now, who are my friends, I will kill you without hesitation." He left him alone without any harm, but the informant was watching them hidden so that no one could see her. She said that she wanted Danzao to finish off his target because he could become an obstacle in the future. Then two people came to Baboni and took him away. The informant said that these two men are from Phantom, the intelligence unit of Mimiko, the royal court sorceress. Then a message came to the informant in the legs of the bird, and it was about Marv. "I feel bad for them, but oh well, since my lord asked me to leave this woman alone, I think I should go now to Crow's hometown." We move on to Kanz and Danzao, who are looking at the new workshop built by Crow. Sina was on the other side telling Ulisha about the existence of a Babawomo tree. Ulisha said, "We'll have good kinds of fruit then, but it hasn't fruited yet." After that, Lisa ran into the place and said, "From today, this will be our love spot, me and Crow." Ulisha said, "It's the new workshop." Then Crow came out of the workshop and told them he was sorry he hadn't prepared a welcome for them. Ulisha said, "We weren't ready either." She asked him, "Can we see it from the inside?" He said, "Of course." Then they went inside, and Crow explained the palace entrances and everything in it, which surprised them. Alicia asked Crow, "What is this device?" Crow told her that he had converted the blue sapphire he brought into magic crystals and used them to create a perpetual motion water engine to generate water, which amazed everyone even more. After that, he took them to the bedrooms and told them they were designated for all of them. Lisa lay on the bed and said, "It smells like Crow." Crow said to Lisa that she was exaggerating with her jokes. Alicia said, "It's the smell of the griffin." After that, they moved to the craftsman's room and Crow asked Alicia, "When will we meet the master craftsman?" Alicia said, "It seems he's late. I think he's busy." Alicia asked Crow, "Which is your room?" Crow told her that he was only responsible for the housework, so he would sleep in a small area next to the kitchen, which angered everyone. But Alicia asked him to sleep here in the master craftsman's room until he arrives. Crow strongly refused, and then he told them that he agreed, but he would leave after the master craftsman arrived. Ulisha asked Crow, "Can you put a curse barrier around this palace?" Crow told her that it was difficult to do. Ulisha said to herself, "So he can't do it then. I have to use the spells that protect against curses that Mimiko gave us." She hung up a lot of curse wards, but only Lisa's room remained, and it was the most important room. She moved to hang a ward on it, but Lisa came out of her room suddenly and thought that Crow was outside. She said to him that she was waiting for him a lot. Ulisha asked Lisa, "Why are you waiting for Crow?" Lisa told her, "Because I want him to sneak into my room," which angered Ulisha. Ulisha said to Lisa that this was not the behavior of a princess at all. Lisa told her, "You're shouting. You might wake everyone up." She asked her, "Are you jealous?" Ulisha told her, "What are you saying? Why would I be jealous? She told her that Crow was pure and innocent and told her that she should be ashamed. Lisa said, "Okay, we move on to Crow, who was in the kitchen." Lisa went to him and said to him, "What dishes do you want me to help you with?" Elisha came and asked Lisa, "What about the modesty I told you about yesterday?" Lisa said to Elisha, "You've been very noisy since yesterday." Elisha said to Lisa to be quiet and asked her, "How can you wear these revealing clothes?" Crow said, "I was surprised too, but Lisa told me that these clothes are common in her house too." Elisha said, "No, they aren't." Lisa said, "I think you're misunderstanding something." After that, Sina came to them and asked, "I smell fresh bread." Crow said to Sina, "Of course, I made an oven so I can prepare fresh bread for everyone every morning." He asked them all to wait in the dining room and asked them which they preferred, tea or coffee, which greatly surprised Ulia. Crow prepared a lot of food for them, which everyone praised as wonderful, but Ulisha asked, "Where is Crow now?" Lisa said that he had left to do some cleaning, carrying a cloth, and said that someone had scribbled on parts of the palace and that he would return after cleaning it up. After that, Alicia went to Crow quickly to prevent him from erasing the protective spells. When she reached him, he was cleaning the spell that was on Lisa's room and told her that it was the last one, which made Ulia feel let down. Crow said to her, there were a lot of them. He asked her, "Do you think something happened here?" Alicia, sitting on the ground, said to him, "I think it was the work of Screeny, the plotter that people have been talking about recently," which amazed Crow when he heard the name. She told him, "I think he saw Lisa and left all these lines to get her attention." Crow said to her, "I understand now. We should tell Lisa." Alicia said to herself, "I succeeded in not revealing that there are killers seeking to kill Lisa, but I don't have many spells left, and it will take Mimiko a few days to get here. Will I be able to protect her?" The Bishop Tristan told Marlefus that she was expelled because the party she belonged to only caused failures and violence, and its leader was wanted for justice. Marlefus replied that she had nothing to do with the matter, it wasn't her fault. She admitted that she might have gone too far when she cast a lightning spell in a restaurant in the royal capital, but claimed it was punishment for being served food that looked like pig slop. Tristan told her to stop talking and explained that her actions had stained the reputation of the Church of Bolin. Marlefus thought to herself that she had done more than anyone to raise the church's status by joining common adventurers and performing miracles. Tristan then said they truly valued her magical abilities and asked her to carry out a simple task. If she agreed, they would overlook her minor sins and promote her to priestess. He then offered her wine from the Gurimako Empire, an enemy of Bolin, but praised its taste. After drinking it, Marlefus told him, "Ask what you want." Tristan then revealed they wanted her to help assassinate the third princess, Lieselata, something that shocked her deeply. Afterward, a curse manifested in Marlefus's body. Tristan coldly informed her that the wine was cursed. She could no longer consume anything except water and would die of starvation within a month unless she completed her mission. If she succeeded, she would be cured and promoted. Marlefus solemnly declared she would offer her life to him. Tristan replied, "That's good, future priestess," and moved on to their hideout in the new city. Meanwhile, Ulicia thought to herself that there had been no new changes in Lieselot's condition since Crow had removed the curse. She wondered if the enemies hadn't found Lieselot's location yet, or if there was another reason they hadn't struck. Lieselota complimented Crow's food, calling it as delicious as ever. Crow said there was more if she wanted, and she eagerly accepted. Ulicia silently questioned whether Crow's cooking was actually nullifying curses without them realizing it, then dismissed the idea. Elsewhere, Mimiko arrived in the city and activated her surveillance network to detect enemy movement. When Ulicia tasted Crow's food, she was stunned by its flavor. Lieselota then commented that the cake's texture was different than usual. Crow revealed he had tried making it with rice flour that day. She praised his rice flour dishes and reminisced about the rice porridge he had made her before. She asked him to make it again if she were ever cursed. Crow smiled and said he was glad she liked it, but not to worry about being cursed again. This surprised both Ulicia and Lieselota. Ulicia asked, "How can you say that with certainty? I thought you told us it was difficult to create a curse barrier." Crow explained that he couldn't create a barrier, but the entire palace was already one. He said he'd made a modification. If anyone attempted to cast a curse, the barrier would repel them and make them turn away. If they still forced the attack, they would be cursed instead. Ulicia asked, "Accidentally cursed?" and thought she should inform Mimiko and the others. She told them she would be going out for a bit. Later, Crow asked Lieselata if she wanted to go shopping, noting that she hadn't stepped out of the workshop since she arrived. She said, of course, but soon apologized, saying she couldn't go out that day. At the castle, Generic remarked to Eric that the fog was getting thicker. Eric replied, generic, isn't it? And said he had a bad feeling. Generic asked if he meant a monster attack. Eric said the wall repairs were supposed to be finished. He had supervised the work himself. Alreed noted that, considering the city's importance, they had no choice. They were worried about enemy spies posing as workers. Generic assured him there was no such threat, as the walls were properly reinforced. We then see a villain trying to curse Lieselata, but he's struck down by Crow's barrier. Mimiko commented that this was the state they were in when found. Ophelia said she believed they had failed to cast the curse and were marked by the light as soon as they tried. The enemy's allies killed him immediately afterward. Ulysses noted that the corpses still glowed, even after death. Ophelia said that Crow had created a powerful curse reflector and wondered aloud, if he cooperated with them permanently, couldn't they solve the whole problem in a single day? Ulysses replied, please don't do this. I know it's a bit late to say this after involving him this much already, but I don't want to throw this boy into such great danger. Mimiko said she would handle the rest of the investigation herself and asked Ulysses to tell Lieselata not to leave the workshop. She also promised to have Phantom guard the place. Just then, they heard the war alarm. We moved to Eric, who was informed by a guard that a large number of monsters had appeared. Alreed ordered the area lit up and discovered a horde of skeletons attacking. Meanwhile, Mimiko reported the attack to the others. Ulysses exclaimed, this is unbelievable, and asked, are they tracking Lieselata? We then moved to Alreed and Generic. Alreed gathered the soldiers and declared he would defend the country to the death. He told Generic to evacuate the citizens. Generic replied that he would also fight, saying they could rush the enemy directly and concentrate their forces to eliminate the threat. Alreed asked, what will you do if there's another enemy waiting to strike? Go protect the people. Back with Ulysses, she said she was going to protect the workshop. But one of Mimiko's assistants arrived with a message that a large horde of skeletons was approaching the western wall and then vanishing. The skeletons then passed through the wall effortlessly, shocking Eric. Ulysses muttered the back wall and recalled a worker mentioning that Crow had repaired that section. The info reached Generic, and Eric asked, what's happening to this wall? Then he wondered if the cause could be Crow. We moved to Lyda, who was being held captive with a devil. The devil told her that although the first wave of skeletons was lost, the second and third waves would use her magic power to be summoned. He said she didn't have as much magic as the Golden Barrel had claimed, but using her soul as fuel would make up the difference, causing Lyda to cry. Back at the workshop, Crow asked about the current state of the city. Ulysses told him it was surrounded by monsters on all sides, and that requesting reinforcements would prompt interference from flying monsters. Lieselata said she was worried about everyone from Sakura, who were still missing after leaving to hunt trolls. Ulysses thought to herself, according to Phantom's information, the monsters were emerging from the ruins of Laputa in the west. Although the knights were preparing strategies, they couldn't move. John, be very careful, she said. Lieselata recalled the skeleton attack from the previous day. Ulysses explained that the moment the skeletons touched the wall, they instantly vanished, surprising even the knights. Crow commented, that's very common. Lieselata asked, then can we make a weapon that defeats all the undead at once? Ulysses silently noted that although Crow made these walls, if the enemy attacked the other walls he hadn't reinforced, they wouldn't hold. She then told Crow and Lieselata that she was leaving and asked them not to leave the workshop. Lieselata asked where she was going, and Ulysses answered, I'm going to clean up the ruins in the west. Crow said, then let me come with you. She refused, warning that it was too dangerous with so many monsters outside. He agreed, saying, you're right, and added that he wasn't meant for combat. As she prepared to leave, Ulysses whispered to Crow, we still have that plan, let's keep it in mind. She asked him to stay with Lieselata. He agreed, which made Lieselata happy. Ulysses then headed to the crystals and said, this is the solution. Meanwhile, the knights were preparing for battle. Ulysses joined them and asked, are you still holding up? Eric noted that she had moved to the new workshop and asked about the two people with her. Ulysses introduced them as Mamiko and Ophelia. Generic asked, "Is this the woman who recommended the new artisan?" Alried followed up, "So this is the workshop that the new princess went to?" Ulysses confirmed, "Of course. Princess Lieselata is in this city." Everyone was shocked. They declared, then assigned the soldiers to protect the princess. Mamiko assured Alried, "Don't worry about the princess. My squad is protecting her." Finally, Ulysses revealed her plan. She asked Alried to use his soldiers as bait to lure the monster's attention. While they were distracted, she would head to the western ruins and cut off the source of the monsters. Alaric said to Ulysses, "Are you going alone? I think that's too reckless." Ulysses replied, "Don't worry, we have a magic weapon." Alaric asked, "Just a magic crystal?" Ophelia assured him, "Its effectiveness is guaranteed." Alaric agreed, but with one condition: he would go with her to storm the ruins. Ulysses said, "You, the general, are coming. I guess that does make me safer," and explained that Generic would lead the army and act as a distraction while she and Alaric struck at the enemy headquarters. Generic objected, "This mission is too dangerous. We should be the ones going instead." Alaric insisted, "You'll act as bait. This is a critical mission. If you don't lead the troops, who will?" He also requested support from Mamiko and Ophelia. Mamiko replied, "We'll help protect the city too." Alaric then commanded, "All units to your positions." Turning to Generic, he said, "Are you upset? My strategy won't change." Generic replied, "You're always like this," and poured drinks for both of them. Alaric sipped his drink. "This has a taste to it." Generic told him, "It's just water. This is our pre-battle ritual. We've always done this. But this isn't our farewell cup. We'll both survive and return home. Then we'll pour your favorite brandy." Alaric smiled. Of course. He poured his cup. Back at the workshop, Crow was doing housework and reflected. "The old man from my hometown always said, pouring your heart into the ways of iron lets you reflect on yourself. Danzo's blade had such an edge. I wonder if I'll ever forge something like that." He sighed. "What can I even do? I got the first group kicked out, and I wasn't helpful in the battle either." Meanwhile, monsters were trying to invade the city from the side opposite the defenders. Ulysses held up a crystal and warned, "When I throw this crystal, close your eyes." As she threw it, a blinding light burst out and vaporized a group of skeletons on impact, astonishing everyone. On the surface, Mamiko observed, "That magic crystal can purify monsters, demons, and undead instantly." Ophelia added, "I can't believe it's this powerful." Ulysses urged, "Let's move. This is our chance." Then Generic led his squad out of the city to draw the monster's attention. Back with Crow, he was crafting a small sword. "I thought my blacksmith rank was B, but this is more like C or D." Then Lieselata entered and said, "Dinner's ready." Noticing the sword, she asked, "Did you make this?" Crow replied, "Yeah, I was absent-minded and ended up imbuing it with magic." Lieselata asked, "Can I see it?" He handed it over. "Sure, just don't raise it above your head. It'll activate its spell. But if you like it, you can keep it." She smiled. "Thank you, Crow." Crow thought to himself, "She's forcing that smile. Is it really okay for me to keep pretending I don't notice how she feels?" He turned to her. "Lieselata, I want to ask you something." She responded, "Of course, anything." He asked, "Is someone after you?" She grew quiet, then admitted, "So you realized I feel guilty. You and Ulysses are in danger because of me." Crow said gently, "I don't consider it a problem. Not at all. And I doubt Ulysses does either." Lieselata replied, "But even now, she's risking her life to reach the ruins." Crow asked, "Is the one targeting you there?" She nodded, "Yes." He remembered something from his past, Glenov writing on the walls, and how he tried to stop him. "Don't stop me. I'm writing Glenov the Great here," until Marlvis knocked him down and stopped it. He returned to the present, saying, "That ruined site, it's always drawn schemers and people who like to leave marks. I think the one after you is one of them, and I think Ulysses went to deal with them." Sitting on the ground, Crow murmured, "If I could fight, I would have protected you, but I can't protect someone dear to me." Lieselata, shocked, asked, "Am I dear to you?" Crow answered, "Of course. You and everyone in Sakura." She smiled. "So that's what you meant." He clenched his fists. "I can't believe all I can do is sit and wait." Lieselata said, "I feel the same way. If it were up to me, I'd catch the culprit myself." Crow looked at her. "Then you're like me. But we can't just sit here anymore." He stood up. "Let's go." Lieselata hesitated. "But the city is surrounded by monsters." Crow grinned. "If the 8 directions don't work, we'll take the 9th. Let's go clean up those ruins in the west." Meanwhile, in the western ruins, Ulysses and her group were under heavy assault. surrounded by monsters from every direction. Lisa grabbed the blade that Crow made and remembered his words. If she pulled it out and raised it upwards, it would cast a spell. Lisa did exactly that, but nothing happened. She moved it around several times, still with no result. As she was about to go outside, someone came up behind her, startling her. Meanwhile, we shift to Ulysses and Eric in the western ruins, fighting off skeletons. Ulysses asked about the location of the artifacts, and Eric told her they were close. Ulysses thought to herself, there are a lot of them, but thankfully, Generic diverted the monster's attention. She added, I saw a strong light several times. I think their crystals are starting to run out. She also mentioned that her own crystals were depleting, and they needed to find the monster source quickly. Alrid was injured, and Ulysses tried to help him, but monsters blocked her path. Fortunately, Cans and his team arrived to defend them, making Ulysses feel relieved. Alrid asked, who are you? And was told, we are followers of the new craftsman trainer in the workshop. Everyone was glad to hear that. Sina reported that she had found the monster source. A building ahead, partially destroyed, with the monsters likely inside or underground. Ulysses acknowledged and asked everyone to close their eyes while she used the crystal. They then advanced toward the building. Cans told Sina, you were able to spot it from afar. That's good. She replied, I know I said I wouldn't be surprised anymore, but this is impossible. Ulysses threw a potion to Eric and told him to drink it. Alrid asked, is this a refreshing drink? To which Ulysses replied, it's just a normal herbal drink. But as Alrid's wounds started healing, he was shocked. My wounds are healing, and you're saying this is just normal soup? Monsters suddenly poured out of the building. As Ulysses prepared to face them, Kan stopped her, saying his team would handle it. Danzao also declared they would repel the enemy and led the charge. Sina warned Ulysses to be careful. Ulysses thanked her, saying, you too, and thank you. Alrid told Ulysses he believed they could be relied upon. She answered, of course, and asked him to join the fight. They entered the building and eliminated a group of monsters. Elsewhere, a large monster was draining Malevis power to spawn more monsters. Upon noticing the soldiers using magic crystals, it said, then I must go and welcome them myself. Back with Ulysses and Alrid, they reached the monster source. Ulysses used the crystal and declared they had likely eliminated the source. But then the demon lord appeared. Alrid asked, is this who was summoning the monsters? Ulysses confirmed and attacked, throwing the crystal, but it had no effect. The demon lord scoffed, this could have been a powerful blow if I didn't have eternal life. They attacked and wounded him, but his injuries healed instantly, shocking them. Malevis, whose power fueled him, muttered, if only I could erase this circle. The demon lord taunted Ulysses and Eric, showing their allies surrounded by monsters. He said the soldiers were ready to die for the city and believed in their cause. Eric retorted that none of them would kneel before a demon. The demon lord replied, okay, maybe I didn't send enough monsters, and decided to spawn more. Ulysses and Alrid attacked him again, cutting off his head, but he simply reattached it. He vowed to kill all the knights and tear Malevis from the town. Alrid told Ulysses to focus, that killing the demon was the only way. But Ulysses wondered, we cut off his head and heart, but he wasn't even hurt. Crystals don't affect him. The demon lord taunted her, that look, give up and despair. Meanwhile, Malevis lamented, it's over. I can't erase the circle, and my hunger has reached its limit. I'd eat anything, even Crow's food. She hallucinated hearing Crow's voice, and then he appeared, along with Princess Lisa. Shocked, Malevis asked if he remembered her. Crow said she had once helped him and called her a former sister expelled from the Church of Bulin. He asked, is this why you were chasing Lisa? She accused him of pretending to be ignorant, blaming everything on Bishop Tristan. Crow realized she had defaced walls, left disturbing books among artifacts, and wrote in Lisa's room out of frustration. He couldn't believe she was behind everything. What happened to the Malevis who helped me stop Galnova? Lisa said, I can't believe you're angry at me, and Crow replied, of course I'm angry, I exposed you to such a terrifying grant. He then asked about Ulysses, learning she was upstairs. Lisa offered to find her, reminding Crow she had the blade. He reluctantly agreed. Malevis found it odd that Crow let Lisa go alone. Crow then erased the summoning circle, shocking Malevis. Back to the battle, Ulysses and Alrid landed another double strike. Alrid said he avoided it. The demon lord cursed and Ulysses noticed his wound wasn't healing, but he knocked away her crystal and mocked her. Suddenly, Lisa appeared, surprising everyone. The demon lord struck her unconscious and gloated that the pact was complete. But Lisa transformed into butterflies and reappeared. He asked, "Is this an illusion?" She explained that the blade Crow made protected her. It was no ordinary sword. Eulalia wondered if Crow had truly made it. Lisa was struck again, but transformed once more and shattered a crystal, making the demon lord scream. Crow, hearing the cry, wondered what it was. Malevis asked if they had really defeated him. She observed that monsters across all areas disappeared. Eulalia asked Lisa why she came. She had told her to stay. Lisa replied that she couldn't hide forever. Eulalia thought she had died. Lisa apologized, but Eulalia told her not to. She had saved everyone. Eric agreed, saying without Lisa, they'd be dead and that he owed her forever. Lisa humbly said she should thank them instead and promised a reward. Alred requested wine to share with his friends. Lisa agreed. Elsewhere, Malevis wondered why her curse hadn't lifted. But Crow offered her food, and when she ate it, the curse lifted. She realized Crow had been protecting them all along and wept in regret for taking his kindness for granted. Crow said, "I'm glad you learned," and noted that all the scribbles were now gone. Eulalia and Lisa arrived. Two twins appeared to arrest Malevis, calling her the schemer. Crow promised to bring her grape bread in prison and hoped she'd repent. Lisa asked if he had finished cleaning, and he said yes. She asked if he was hurt, and he said no, giving Eulalia medicine as well. Eulalia thought to herself, "I can't believe these two saved my life. What a princess and artisan teacher." Eulalia grabbed Crow and said, "Let's go home." He walked with them, happy to now have friends to return to and protect. Later, a feast was held. Crow was surprised at how everyone ate. Alred explained they're focused on the food and wine, making Crow smile. Lisa introduced Crow to Alred, revealing he was the night leader and city administrator. Crow was surprised and complimented the city's good food and people. Generic joked that Alred was bad at management, earning a playful hit from Eric, who said Margrave Takon helped cover for his shortcomings. Fireworks exploded in celebration. Generic and Eric said their wounds were healed. Crow replied, "That's good, nutritious food heals all." Finally, we cut to Margrave Takon, seen holding a girl captive. Corey was sleeping in a cart, dreaming about a girl he met when he was young named Hildegard. She didn't talk to anyone because her father told her not to speak with villagers. However, after ignoring Corey for a while, she started talking to him and felt comfortable. They went together to the forest, where Hildegard quickly ran and ate poisonous berries, collapsing to the ground. Corey rushed to her and made a potion to save her, drinking it first before placing it in her mouth. Then, the scene switched back to the cart, where Corey woke from his dream. After that, they traveled to a village that had summoned them to check on a severe water shortage threatening crop failure. This village had many nearby villages with water channels, but negotiations had failed, so they turned to Corey and his group for help. Following this, Eulalia moved to meet Danzao, while others stayed on a hill trying to solve the water issue. Eulalia went to a neighboring village to negotiate, but the villagers were also suffering from water shortages and pleaded with her to help. Eulalia then moved to Canancina, where she found a large lake and discovered that Corey had created it by bringing underground water to the surface to quench thirsty birds. The villagers were grateful and thanked Eulalia, believing she had solved the problem, which surprised Corey. They then returned to their village with gifts, including eggs for cooking. Next, the story shifts to Prince Tyan, where Lieselada was a guest and Rick was with her to report on monster attacks. They were treated well, but Lieselada was there as a representative of the master craftsman, not a camera. Prince Tyan, who held the title of Duke and was cunning and deceitful, tried to extract information about the stones used to kill monsters and about the new master craftsman, but Lieselada refused to reveal anything to protect Corey. Tyan explained that the country they were in had no official name, and only the deputy could name it. Choosing a deputy was difficult because the border town was closest to demon lands. Tyan believed the new master craftsman would be the right choice, but worried that appointing Corey publicly would expose him. Since Lieselada represented the master craftsman, she had authority to approve the appointment and agreements. Since Corey had saved many knights in the last battle, the knights would accept him as deputy, which Rick agreed to immediately. Lieselada objected, but Tyan dismissed her concerns, and they agreed to appoint Corey as deputy, which pleased Tyan. Back at Corey's home, Lieselada apologized to Eulalia for her earlier mistake, and they discussed how someone else could represent Corey officially, as no one could replace him due to his greatness. Eulalia informed her that Cora was caring for the eggs given by the village whose water issue they solved. The eggs were close to hatching, and Korra was devoted to them, hoping for a water bird despite it being difficult to happen these days. The story then shifts to Mimiko and Ophelia. Mimiko was exhausted after receiving reports about the dead Archbishop Tristan at the Bolin Church. It was possible that Tristan was assassinated and his soul sold to the Demon King. He was summoned and made a scapegoat by the church, with Marlefus involved. They hadn't killed her yet due to Corey's visit. Then, a message fell to Mimiko from above. Returning to Corey, after the eggs hatched, instead of water birds, a girl appeared. She looked around 3 years old despite just hatching. The girl called Korra Daddy, which astonished everyone. This girl could not have come from the eggs and might not be ordinary, possibly a monster using magic to disguise herself. Ulysses tried to kill her to prevent harm, but Corey stopped her and asked if he could raise the girl. Ulysses resisted, but then the child grabbed her and called her mama, shocking Ulysses. The child also called Corey Papa, leading to thoughts of marriage. Then, Lieselada snatched the girl, and the child called her mama too, causing Lieselada to stumble and drop the girl. Can saved her before she hit the ground. When Ulysses moved to grab the girl, Corey stopped her, saying he would raise her in their group and that she would be good among them. Everyone, including Ulysses, agreed. They struggled to name the girl because she had called both Corey and Lieselada mama. They considered merging their names, which caused a quarrel between Ulysses and Lieselada. When the girl woke and called out to them, they held her hand, creating a bond. None objected to having their names in her first or last name. Corey realized the girl had a special ability. She united people and created affection between them. They named her Ori, meaning the edge, symbolizing the connection of 3 points, which made the girl happy. That night, one of Mimiko's guards received samples of Ori's hair and saliva from Ulysses for examination. The next day, a children's room was prepared for Ori, filled with toys and cans played with her. However, Ori could not leave the room until Ulysses got a reply from Mimiko. While Cans was caring for Ori, she asked Corey and Ulysses if she could go with them. But Corey refused since he was going to work. Ori said she would wait with Cans. Later, Ulysses and Corey set off for work, agreeing to return quickly to play with Ori. On the way, they heard a strange noise in the cart and were surprised to find Ori inside, jumping on Corey and saying she had come with them by sneaking in through an entrance in the cart. While Cans searched for her in her room, Ori was with Corey and Ulysses, discussing how to return her to the workshop. One of Mimiko's guards approached them, disguised to avoid recognition, and delivered information that Ulysses wanted to know about Ori. Just then, the daughter-in-law of the old man arrives and apologizes for the strange things her father-in-law said. She explains that he always wanted to be one of those prophets who speak ominous words, so he has been getting a bit senile lately. She reveals that she is the actual client and thanks them for coming. She admits she wasn't expecting a newlywed couple to show up for the job and notices they have a cute child. Kurt thinks Ulysses will be upset about this and sees that she is flushed with embarrassment rather than anger. Assuming she hates being called his wife, Kurt decides to distract her with work. He asks what job she has for them, and she shows him the pigs on their farm, which haven't been eating their feed lately. Kurt suspects the pigs are suffering from heat exhaustion due to the hot weather and offers to prepare some feed to relieve them. The woman is glad to hear this and mentions she must take her father-in-law for a walk, leaving Kurt to handle the task. Noticing Ulysses still embarrassed about being called his wife, Kurt gets to work preparing a cool feed for the pigs. As the pigs eat, Ulysses thinks the couple looks like newlyweds. She finds it not so unusual since there is only a slight height difference and they look old enough to have a childlike Akiri. Embarrassed by her own thoughts, she realizes she's been fantasizing too much since Akiri arrived. She reassures herself that she only wants to protect Kurt professionally, yet she wonders why her heart races when she thinks of him. Suddenly, a dragon flies overhead toward Kurt. Ulysses runs to him, sword drawn, warning him to be careful. The dragon lands beside Kurt, who tells Ulysses to lower her weapon. The dragon quietly starts eating the feed, and Kurt explains that dragons often come to rural areas asking for some of the livestock feed. Akiri mistakes the dragon for a big dog, and Kurt corrects her, explaining it as a dragon. Then, Ulysses smells blood and investigates. She finds the body of a member of the Phantom Squad who was protecting Kurt and wonders who attacked them. Suddenly, someone ambushes her and they clash swords. Hearing the commotion, Kurt and Akiri approach, but Ulysses tells them to stay back. The attacker confronts them and demands Ulysses hand over the child. Kurt mistakenly thinks she is a dragon hunter, targeting the dragon, but Ulysses knows otherwise and urges him to leave. The dragon swiftly picks up Kurt and Akiri, flying away with them. Ulysses is surprised Kurt managed to tame the dragon, as they are known to be hostile to humans, though she's not surprised given his high rank in all areas except combat. The woman attacks Ulysses again, but she blocks and dodges her strikes. Eventually, the attacker lands a kick and seems ready to finish Ulysses off, but Ulysses counters and gains some distance. She asks if the woman meant the dragon child or Akiri when demanding the child, but the woman says it won't matter because she's going to kill her anyway. The woman disarms and wounds Ulysses, closing in on her. Ulysses uses one of Kurt's magic crystals, which causes a massive explosion, destroying the surrounding area. Believing it to be the end, Ulysses is shocked when the woman, now revealed with horns, emerges alive. She is a demon. Ulysses reflects that demons are mankind's natural enemies and wonders why one has appeared now, as none have shown themselves in the past century. The demon admits she didn't expect to be wounded so badly or to have her transformation magic dispelled. She acknowledges Ulysses' strength, noting it's no surprise she defeated a demon lord. Ulysses realizes the demon has been watching them since before the city was attacked. She suspects the dragon is not the child the demon wants and wonders if Kurt is her real target. Though badly injured, Ulysses hopes Kurt returns quickly to the frontier town, knowing it's a short flight by dragon. Once he arrives, the Phantom Squad will realize she's missing and come searching for her. However, Kurt returns to her. She wonders why he came back since he is of little use in a fight, and he falls off the dragon as it prepares to land. Ulysses asks why he returned, and he says he came to get her. Suddenly, the pigs from earlier rush over, and Ulysses and Kurt hop on one, hoping to escape the demon using the smokescreen created by the pigs. While riding, Ulysses wonders where Akiri is, and Kurt explains she's waiting for them somewhere safe. Ulysses questions if it's common in his village to risk their lives in impossible fights, but he says it's not. It's his first reckless act. Yet, he believes it's normal for a man to do something reckless to protect a woman he cares about. Ulysses knows Kurt means she is precious to him as a friend, which makes her feel both happy and sad. She wonders why she constantly worries about what Lieselota says and why her heart aches every time. She admits she has hopelessly fallen in love with Kurt. Suddenly, the demon attacks with fire magic, knocking them off the pigs. The demon launches another fireball, but Ulysses grabs Kurt's dagger, ready to fight. Though worried, Kurt asks her not to worry, as she insists she'll be fine. She thanks him, saying she had given up on living, but his refusal to give up on saving her renewed her hope. The demon attacks again, and Ulysses tries to slice through the flames using a technique called magic slashing, which can cut through opponents' spells. She's never succeeded before, but has no choice now. Her attempt only works temporarily. Suddenly, Akiri appears on top of Ulysses, and the demon cancels the spell upon seeing her. Surprised, Ulysses wonders if the demon dispersed the spell herself and suspects it was to protect Akiri. She questions if Akiri is the child the demon asked for, but the demon coughs blood and leaves. Ulysses tries to chase her but falls. Kurt catches her and gives her medicine, which she gratefully accepts. He asks if she's still hurting, and she decides to rest in his arms. Akiri also checks on her, and Ulysses says she's fine. Surprised, she asks Akiri how she appeared on top of her. Kurt explains that Akiri didn't fall or fly, but appeared out of nowhere, like using a teleportation crystal. Ulysses explains that current teleportation technology allows transfer between places with teleportation stones, but Akiri teleported without stones. She asks Akiri to try the teleportation again, but Akiri can't. Both wonder why. Thinking about the earlier attacker, Ulysses hopes they never meet again. They remember the injured pigs and quickly decide to heal them. Kurt begins healing with help from the others. Later, the client arrives at the farm, happy to see her pigs recovering, and thanks Ulysses. She asks where her husband is, and Ulysses explains he went to visit a neighboring farm, who helped him earlier. Meanwhile, Kurt is flying on the dragon, who senses something and informs him. Kurt asks the dragon to take him there, and it complies. Meanwhile, Ulysses and Akiri ride back home by carriage. Akiri asks if she's tired. Ulysses is just relieved both Akiri and Kurt are safe. She asks if Akiri was the one who cast the fireball earlier, but Akiri denies it. Ulysses realizes it was the demon and recalls the demon looked pale near Akiri. thinking she tried not to harm her. Unsure, Yulicia decides she needs more information about Akiri and whether she can really use teleportation magic. Suddenly, Kurt arrives flying on the dragon, surprising Yulicia, who thought he had gone to free the dragon. When he lands, she notices the dragon is carrying the demon and asks him to explain. Kurt reveals that he found the demon girl while flying and wondered what to do. He decided to save her and prepared medicine. When the demon woke up, she called him a fool, saying this would get him killed. Kurt explains that without his help, both Akiri and Yulicia would have died from her spell, but she showed mercy, so he is doing the same. He finished the medicine, gave it to her, and told her to drink if she wanted to live. The medicine healed her but knocked her out. Kurt admits he mixed anesthetic in the medicine to keep her unconscious for 3 days. He says it's natural for a dragon hunter to hunt dragons, but she shouldn't attack humans. He wonders if she understands, and thinks not every horned girl is the same, remembering Hildegard. Hearing that name surprises the demon, and she completely faints. Kurt explains what happened. Yulicia is surprised because she thought poison didn't work on demons. Later, they arrive at the atelier, and Yulicia is exhausted. Kurt tells Akiri to apologize to the others for worrying them, and she agrees. Sina runs to see Akiri, happy she's okay. Lieselata is also glad but seems forbidden from contacting Akiri, though Yulicia decides to let them be for now. Akiri apologizes to both, and a white-haired man welcomes them to the atelier. They wonder who he is, and Lieselata introduces him as the atelier meister, surprising Yulicia. Lisa introduced him as the new master artisan, which surprised Yulicia and made Kor happy. The new teacher then introduced himself, claiming to be Rikudo. Kor also introduced him, and the teacher thanked him for building his special workshop, asking him to keep supporting it. However, Yulicia felt something strange and asked Kor to prepare food while she asked Senna to take care of Akiri. After that, Rikudo approached her in an odd manner, but Yulicia struck him, sending her foot through his body and discovering he wasn't human. Lisa had created an illusion using Kor's blade, an illusion of Rudo at the age of 20. After he disappeared, Yulicia received a message from Mimiko, saying she would come in 3 days to update them on the investigation regarding Akiri. Later, at the workshop, Mimiko revealed that the investigation showed nothing, which surprised them. She explained that she had examined Akiri's hair and saliva samples, which matched human samples perfectly, but found a trace of a substance on her nails, resembling magical crystals, specifically teleportation magic crystals, which shouldn't exist in humans. This astonished Kor, but Mimiko had records indicating teleportation magic was used in the world of creation, though now lost and unused. This was the magical residue they found on Akiri, and Kor asked if she was a monster. Mimiko couldn't confirm anything, having no idea what she was. She acted like a human, but clearly wasn't, and Mimiko was terrified by the existence of someone like her in the workshop. She offered to seal Akiri's teleportation magic and keep her in her lab, but Kor strongly refused. Curious, Mimiko asked why he was so firm. Kor then asked if she feared him. She replied no, he hadn't harmed her, and she trusted him as a friend, which is why he refused. It didn't matter to him whether someone was human or not if he felt safe with them. He explained that Akiri had rushed to the Dragon Slayer because she was worried about him being asleep, and she had a kind heart. He didn't feel fear with her and insisted she stay with them. He wouldn't let anyone take her. Yulicia agreed, noting Akiri had once saved her life and there was no evidence that she was a monster. Lisa added that she trusted Akiri a lot. After that, Mimiko asked them to take good care of her, then brought up the captured Dragon Slayer and asked about her location. She headed there, but was stopped by Kor, who pleaded with her not to imprison the Slayer. However, Mimiko viewed her as a demon and believed she deserved a punishment worse than prison. She proceeded and injected her, waking the Dragon Slayer. Mimiko tried to talk to her, but the Slayer responded that warriors only speak when necessary. This made Mimiko realize she was a demon hunter, and that her reserved speech was part of her warrior persona, not something she'd always been like. A massive flame burst forth, but it didn't harm Mimiko, who acknowledged it was a strong flare, though there was a sealing magic barrier in the room. She asked if the Slayer had any allies, but the Slayer refused to answer, saying only the loser answers the winner's questions, and since Kor had defeated her, she'd only answer him. Then Kor and Lisa approached. When Kor stepped forward and asked about her condition, she expressed anger over her bindings. He apologized, saying he couldn't untie her until she answered his questions. She then said the name Hild, surprising Kor. Ulysses asked who that was and explained she was the daughter of a merchant who used to visit Kor's village when they were young to play with him. She had horns, so she thought they might know each other. The Slayer asked if Hild wore a griffin emblem. Kor began to remember and confirmed that she did. Then the Slayer pleaded with Kor to save Hild, saying she was being held beneath Tyon Castle, leaving everyone in shock. Kor couldn't believe that Tyon had done this, so he asked Ulysses to quickly save Hild. However, Ulysses was unsure if the Dragon Slayer was telling the truth and told him to calm down. She wondered why the Slayer aimed for Akiri instead of the dragon. Indeed, Kor was surprised that she targeted Akiri, but the Slayer was investigating Tyon's targets, while Tyon was investigating theirs. Suddenly, a girl appeared out of nowhere and used her powers to save Hild. Kor believed her, but Ulysses said there was no evidence and asked for proof. The Dragon Slayer showed a necklace similar to Hild's and stopped her spell upon seeing the emblem on Kor's dagger, which he had received from Hild. Then, Mimiko told the Slayer to stay until they rescued Hild, warning that if she escaped or died, they would stop trying. Mimiko asked Kor to convey this, and Kor promised to save Hild. The Slayer introduced herself as Sulfur, and Kor greeted her excitedly. Suddenly, Akiri appeared, astonishing everyone. Kor asked Mimiko what to do next, but she reassured him that rescuing Hild was now everyone's problem. They returned to the workshop, where Mimiko showed them a map of Tyon's castle and shared details about Tyon, his late wife, and their daughter who died last year. There was one room in the palace no one entered except Tyon, though they had seen him carrying food to it. Seer and Mimiko's guards had tried to open that room, but failed. They said even a master treasure hunter would take a long time. Lisa suggested tricking Tyon by sending a false thief, who would appear to use magic to enter the room, forcing Tyon to open it himself. They planned to use the upcoming 3-day Taikon festival as cover, traveling as tourists to meet the new artisan workshop teacher. Ulysses worried about leaving Kor alone with Sulfur, so Lisa suggested taking Kor along, saying they'd study the local market during the festival to learn about trends and goods quality. When the opportunity arose, they would rescue Hild. They agreed, planning the rescue on the 3rd day to keep soldiers busy. During the first 2 days, they studied the market and bet on who would take Kor first. Lisa won on day 1, making Mimiko and Sulfur feel disgusted. They then headed to Tyon's castle by carriage. Rikudo asked if Hiroki came too, but Kor said he had asked her to monitor the workshop with everyone from Sakura and apologized, explaining it was related to Hild. Rikudo didn't object. Knowing a noble and royal family member was imprisoning women shocked Kor. He realized Rikudo was from the royal family, much to Lisa's dismay. Rikudo asked Kor to keep this secret. At their lodging, Rikudo greeted nobles. Thisha asked Kor to watch Akiri and Lisa tomorrow, as she would check on Tyon. Kor offered to help Ulysses, but Lisa stopped him, saying studying the market was important and he shouldn't leave Akiri alone, but let her enjoy the festival with her father. Kor agreed, wanting to make Akiri happy. The festival began, and everyone enjoyed it. Lisa told Kor about thornless cactuses being sold, a unique product that released sweet water when cut. They bought 2, but Kor didn't get one for himself. I shared some with Kor, who returned the rest to her. Lisa also gave Kor some. After drinking, Lisa felt overwhelming happiness. When Kor returned her cactus, she quickly drank from it and put it away. Kor thought about discarding it later, but Lisa was annoyed and said it was a rare fruit she wanted to keep. They resumed enjoying the festival. Kor had attended festivals before, but only guarded stables and supplies, never fully enjoying them. Now, he wanted to truly enjoy this one. Lisa held his hand, promising they'd make up for the times he missed. Kor then played a balance game, surprising the vendor by winning many red beans. They continued playing, eating, and shopping. Later, at a park, Lisa prepared to confess her love to Kor. After their fun, she approached him, almost ready to confess. But Kor was distracted, looking at the Tycoon Palace and thinking about saving Hild. Lisa sensed his worry but knew he wasn't anxious. He trusted everyone's promise to save Hild. Though not worried, he felt pain for being unable to do more. Lisa reminded him he freed her from a curse, built a wonderful workshop, and that everyone enjoyed his cooking. Kor felt anyone could have done it, but Lisa knew it was hard for others. Then she confessed she loved him, shocking Kor. She said she wasn't the only one, everyone loved him. She mentioned Rikudo's royal duty to save Hild, but it didn't matter because they all loved Kor and wanted to help him. They were saving Hild for his sake, not just the workshop. This moved Kor to tears. He told Lisa he loved them all and wanted to be useful. Lisa agreed, saying since they loved each other, they could work together and do what they each could best. Then, Ori called Kor hungry. Lisa saw this as a chance to confess again, but seeing Kor smile, she decided to be content with just that. Later, Ulyssia asks Kurt to forge her a new sword since her last one was destroyed in the battle against the demon Soulflare. To make the sword, they need rare materials, so Ulyssia takes Kurt to the mines where he collects some extraordinary materials as usual, this time mithril and adamantite. Normally, such materials require a highly specialized furnace to be turned into an alloy, but Kurt only uses a cooking pot. A dwarven blacksmith accompanying them can only smile in amazement, having never seen anything like it before. In no time, Kurt crafts one of the best swords in history, which Ulyssia uses to effortlessly cut a boulder in half. The dwarven blacksmith, shocked by Kurt's skill, accepts defeat and leaves to improve his own craftsmanship. Wondering why he was even there in the first place, Ulyssia names her new sword Snowflake and thanks Kurt, who smiles back, making her blush and revealing she's clearly fallen for his charm. The next morning at the atelier, Ulyssia reveals she's going on a date with Kurt, just like Lee did. She uses the excuse of wanting to study the market. Shortly after, Kurt and Ulyssia head out without Ori, who hasn't woken up yet. Ulyssia is glad there won't be a third wheel this time. Secretly, she confides to the viewers how much she wants to outshine Lee, but she doesn't know what Lee did to impress Kurt on her date. Trusting her adventurer skills, Ulyssia plans to show Kurt the hidden gems of the city to gain an advantage. However, their mission ends abruptly when they encounter local goons wrecking a meat bun stall. The shopkeeper is on his knees begging the goons to stop, with his daughter beside him. Seeing their miserable state, Ulyssia's ethics urge her to intervene, but that would ruin the date. Caught in this dilemma, she turns to Kurt, who has already rushed into the fight without hesitation, demanding the goons explain their violent actions. The puggy-looking goon tells Kurt to mind his own business. But little does he know, Kurt is unemployed and has nothing better to do. Meanwhile, Ulyssia realizes a peaceful date with Kurt is impossible and gives up. The bigger goon explains that the shop sold them bad meat buns, and as responsible citizens, they're wrecking the shop to prevent others from suffering the same. Kurt doesn't trust this, so he buys a bun and discovers the food is actually good and cheap, proving the goons are lying. The piggy goon, unwilling to admit he's wrong, pushes Kurt, triggering Ulyssia to step in and demand an apology, warning the goons they're picking a fight with the atelier members. The boss goon runs away, followed by his underlings saving the day for the shopkeeper. Noticing the shopkeeper is injured with broken bones, Ulyssia isn't worried since Kurt can heal him. But the unaware Kurt decides to take the man to the hospital instead, ignoring her advice and rushing off with the shopkeeper on his back. Ulyssia can't believe she got ditched on their first date and now has to comfort the shopkeeper's crying daughter. Buying juice for the kids, she learns from the seller that the nearby Gargel restaurant hired the goons because they don't want the meat bun stall to win an upcoming cooking competition. Enraged that her date was ruined by the Gargel restaurant, Ulyssia wants revenge. Kurt returns with news that the shopkeeper has been admitted to the hospital and will stay for a day. Being the humanitarian he is, Kurt decides to substitute as the shopkeeper to keep the stall running. Ulyssia's hatred for the Gargel restaurant grows as she wastes her time there. Fired up, she and Kurt decide to enter the cooking competition to crush all competitors, especially Gargel. The only problem is the stall is out of meat buns. If Kurt used his cheat skills to mass produce them instantly, the shopkeeper wouldn't be happy. So, they teach the shopkeeper's kid to make buns using Kurt's modified recipe. While Ulyssia gathers ingredients, Kurt digs underground for a special ingredient, worms. The cooking competition begins. The judges find the Gargel restaurant's food exquisite, but their judgment is swayed by bribes from the restaurant's chef, ensuring Gargel's victory. However, public opinion shifts as the crowd praises the delicious meat buns, leaving the Gargel chef wondering if his hired goons failed. The restaurant owner is shocked and goes to investigate why his paid goons couldn't do their job. only to find people enjoying the hot springs nearby, a hot spring right in the city. He had never seen one before and wondered if the spring was a new attraction the owner had added to get good reviews. But right now, that was the least of his worries. He had to focus on winning the competition first. Standing there in awe, he crashed and whined. As expected, the judges came to taste the food as well. The crowd's excitement made them hopeful something great was happening. So one judge suggested they buy some food to judge. Gargel protested immediately, saying the bun looked black inside and might not be safe to eat. Well, what else would a hater say? Before he could convince the judges against the store, Luna appeared with a tray of snacks. Recognizing the judges, she asked them to try her food. Gargel begged them not to, insisting it was poison. Luna agreed it looked black, but explained it was because of the ingredient used, anko made with caucus. They used red beans that Kurt had brought, telling them that preparing red beans in a hot drink would produce honey, making every bite delightful. She convinced the judges, who took a bite and felt like they were in paradise. The meal was truly a pleasure, and they were amazed by its taste. Gargel also tried it and immediately understood why people queued for hours just to eat it. He didn't care, he just wanted to win. Before he could speak, Ulyssia arrived. Gargel asked how they made something so beautiful. She explained the entire process, and he doubted anyone could do that in hours. He thought Kurt was no ordinary person. Ulyssia revealed the meals were made with hot water from an underground spring, meaning they had dug under the city. No one could dig the city so easily, but she insisted Kurt did it. Gargel's next excuse was that even for the atelier, digging the city required Margrave Taekon's consent. To his shock, they had gotten that consent. Hamiras Lieselada had met with Taekon and obtained permission. The hot ring Kurt dug wasn't useless. It would serve as a leisure center for the kingdom. Realizing he lost, Gargel pulled the judge he had bribed, reminding him of their deal to block the restaurant's win. But how could the judge lie when the truth was so clear? The judge refused the money and admitted the restaurant deserved the win. Frustrated, Gargel spotted the thugs he'd hired and urged them to destroy the restaurant, promising to bail them out if arrested. Unknown to him, he was talking to an illusion created by Lieselada. His gang had already been arrested, and now he would be too. Ulyssia appeared, revealing they had uncovered Gargel's crimes, supplying Margrave Taekon with ingredients, using leftovers from the Margrave's kitchen, which was illegal, and even lacing food with drugs to addict customers. Gargel was stunned. How had they discovered everything? Turning around, he saw Lieselada had taken his form. She explained they had impersonated him and interrogated the chefs, who confessed all. Facing arrest, Gargel panicked and tried to attack Lieselada with a knife. That escalated his crimes from minor offenses to treason, attacking a princess. He didn't know who she was until Lieselada introduced herself. Guards dragged him away as he cried, lamenting that all he ever wanted was to fight some buns, and now that had ruined his life. Ulyssia wasn't satisfied with how the day ended. She had dreamed of a lovely date with Kurt, but it ended in chaos. Lieselada laughed at the misfortune, but it wasn't all bad. She saw how happy Kurt was, and even little Luna was thrilled. That was enough for her. News of Gargel's arrest reached Margrave Taekon, who wasn't surprised. He probably wouldn't be shocked if he were involved himself. He also learned all chefs linked to the scandal were arrested, so he worried who would cook for the tea party honoring Lieselada the next day. His assistant told him the judges had announced the cooking competition winner. They could hire that person. A convenient solution. Still, something nagged at him. He worried about what Lieselada was planning. Maybe she had uncovered his secret and knew what he hoped to gain from meeting the atelier master. For now, he brushed off the suspicion. Meanwhile, Lieselada, Ulyssia, and Kurt met with Rikudo. They showed him a map of the Margrave's house and tasked him with sneaking into the kitchen to find out if Hildegard was being held there. That way, they could confront Taekon with proof and demand her release. Rikudo agreed and assured Kurt he had it covered. Kurt was told to return to help at the bun shop. After he left, Lieselada dropped the illusion. Illusions can only exist if the creator holds the sword, but illusions can't hold objects. That made things complicated. Lieselada couldn't hold the sword while with Taekon, and Rikudo might need to hold or move things too. So, here was the plan. Lieselada would create illusions of herself and Rikudo, while her real body, holding the sword, would remain invisible and follow Rikudo closely to assist when needed. With the plan set, they headed to Taekon's house. As they approached and Lieselada summoned the illusions, they received a shocking update. Kurt had been hired by Taekon as the chef for the event.